We're a team. All of us. Let's go get him.
Listen up! These guys on the ground, they are your brothers now!
Yes, sir. We got intel reports of Hassan and the cartel forming terrorist cells all over the globe.
We've never seen activity on this scale before.
They have an army. But we have each other.
The world is a vampire. Hold you out to the
Coming back!
Locate the prisoners and move them to extraction.
Enemies above! Drill charge! Eyes on the hostage. You're gonna be okay.
Hostage secure.
Sniper, find cover! Keep going! Gotcha!
Despite all my rage, I am still just a renegade.
Airstrike! Find cover!
Do not let them cross the border.
Take him out! Get ready, team! We have never seen a war zone like this!
The world is a vampire.
They're behind us! Shock stick out! Enemy healer!
Take out that boat!
Check box 6!
I'm on my way.
Into water, both visually, beautiful caustics, there's waves with white caps, but we also, the gameplay side, there's unique ballistics underwater. You only can use certain weapons underwater. Your pistol is your weapon underwater, otherwise you can't use your primary weapons. But it's also a nice cover or evasion mechanic. If you're getting shot at, you can dive into the water, and as you get deeper, it gets murkier. Like the farther you are from something, you can't see it. And so it's been super fun for us to, even though we're a military shooter, fluid movement is super important to us. So this game, as you saw in the trailer, you can see here on the video, we have a new ledge hang mechanic, and that's essentially a high mantle. But instead of doing a high mantle and throwing yourself up over into combat, you can now peek. If you have a pistol, you can pull that pistol out and use that. We also added a dive. You know, last game we had the slide that kept your gun up, but we really wanted players to have an option where if they're getting shot at, they don't know where they're getting shot at, they can get down, get out of fire. And it basically sits there, and if a player gets close to it, it auto-deploys and basically inflates like a car airbag going off. And it faces the person that triggered it, and so it's a great distraction technique. You can also fire it off with a clacker if you want to control when it goes off. You can throw it in water, and here you just saw the DDoS. We added all this equipment into this game, and the DDoS is our kind of answer of like, hey, I'm going to breach this building. I want to go clean house, but I don't want to deal with all the shit inside. So I'm going to hit the DDoS. Boom! It's going to shut down everything, and I can move in, and clear that room. You saw the heartbeat sensor is back. It's got a new look, but it also has a battery as a balancing mechanic, so you can't use it indefinitely in Warzone. And there's
to unlock universal attachments through cross progression. So we saw a lot of really positive feedback from the community yesterday. This is sort of intended to, decrease the grind. You're no longer unlocking every single attachment for every single weapon. There will be some shared attachments through progression. And I'm really excited to see the streamers and the content creators jump into this today. I know we all love the gun bench from 2019, so it's exciting.
This does sound amazing. So we've been hearing a little bit about weapon platforms and shared attachments. This is very, very cool stuff.
Fishing town in the south coast of our big map, and we picked this because it has such a great mix of gameplay. It's right on a harbor, so we get to show off all our boats and our new amphibious APC, and swimming, as we've already said. But what you get inside the town is this really intense urban combat with all these tight little alleyways and all this great rooftop combat. And mixed with our ledge hang, you get these really cool parkour combat action happening.
Yeah.
Do you mind giving us some details on this one? Sure.
Macarta is a little street market in a historic section in Mexico. Our story behind this is, the authorities have some intel that narcotics are being smuggled out of a warehouse, and they're going in trying to find and seize them. This map plays really fast and a lot of action right down that center lane. The Mercado is a very dangerous.
It's a big war map. It's big war TDM, or we affectionately call it the shipment of ground war. It's 20v20 players, but there's also 20 AI on each team. AI are coming in fast roping. They're coming in on medium birds. And it's this high action mode. It's super fun, but it's also really chill. The announcer's not barking at you. He's not saying like, hey, get to B, they're taking C. You can kind of play it how you want to play it. You sit up on a rooftop and snipe. You can grab a
played today, and they will be in beta in Prisoner Rescue and Knockout.
Prisoner Rescue. Okay, let's go into Prisoner Rescue first, Jug.
So Prisoner Rescue is an attack and defend mode. It's a round-based mode. The defenders have 2 prisoners. They're kind of spread out, and they need to keep hold of them. The goal of the attackers is to get to those prisoners, pick them up, and carry them to exfil. When you pick them up, you enter what's called a wounded carry, where they're up on your shoulders and you can't use your primary weapons. Instead, you have to use a pistol if you brought it, or you're just stuck with fists. But the way that we give the attackers an advantage in the trailer, too, it's been a pet project for us, right? We've always wanted to do third person, and all while we're working on all this other stuff, we've been kind of lifting up and doing third person in each mode. And the cool thing is that it's a modifier on our game, right? We can just turn on third person. In the beta, we're playing it in hardpoint, but we want to try it post-launch in S&D. We want to try it in...
Empty-handed, I was born. Empty-handed, I will ascend. Blade or bullet, fist or bow, spear, stone, or arrow. These are merely tools. I am the one to fear.
This is our new map for Warzone 2.0. It is a really interesting mix of geography. It is expansive desert settings with a mix of industrial areas, towns, a city, and of course, water. It looks way better on this screen than it did on Twitter. But you're going to find a lot of really cool elevation, rocky peaks, caves, subterranean spaces. This map is beautiful, and it's actually the biggest BR map that we've ever made.
Works to make it feel like a real space, right? So that there's infrastructure in between all the different, what we call points of interest along the map. And if you're paying attention, you might even see a few that seem pretty familiar out there as well. And so as the team works through these, they're trying to find some variety on each point of interest to make them something that the players will want to drop in and get the particularity of that single point of interest and find the place that they want to drop and where they want to play, whether it be a high elevation observatory at the center of the map, whether it be the big city that's up the top right, and whether they want to explore that, or whether they want to work in some of our POIs where we have water intersecting with geometry here. So we have in this one...
Ooh, that looks familiar.
That does seem familiar. And there's a river system that goes through all of this. So you'll be able to catch in a boat and drive between the different POIs. And here's one of our favorites, Sawa Village, which is
That's my favorite.
colloquially called Sunken Town.
I mean, I love to swim, so you find me there.
Absolutely.
I'm curious what you guys think, Jack and Joe, on what the hot drop was.
The slide, the dive, the water, like,
More swimming.
yeah.
Oh,
This is a great taste of some of the water combat.
I can't wait to go full Captain Miller. You know, Apocalypse Now coming out of the water, knifing people. I mean, this just looks.
Yeah, the rendering team made some work, so you come out, you're looking all wet.
Yeah.
You see the caustics on the bottom.
Yep.
I'm not even sure what caustics are. I have no idea, but it sounds great and it looks incredible.
You can see the armored patrol boat coming by.
What we got?
So we've implemented a new physics and handling model for the vehicles. So some vehicles are heavier, some will slide more, have more traction or less traction. And as you're driving them around and you're encountering them and other squads are playing with them, you can choose to shoot off the tires to kind of impact their handling. You can have them, they react to explosive differently based on their weight. So if you're in a heavy armored 4x4 and get hit by an RPG, it's going to kind of bounce a little bit, but not quite take the hit as a
Really hard to move away from it. So we kind of talked about what could we do to mix things up with the circle. So we've got this new mechanic where the circle can actually split, almost like a cell splits, into 2, 3, or even 4 circles. And then those circles kind of close down. And what it does is it segregates teams, and you have these micro battles in those circles. And at a certain point, you're like, okay, we've cleared out our circle. We think we're good. And then those circles merge. They come back together, and you have this very directed fight of like, as this crazy things we've been doing. But the current version of the Gulag that we have running right now, where we're excited people to play, is you're not in there alone. You actually have this temporary alliance with another opponent in the map.
guys occupying inside Al Mazrah in BR. And the players can choose whether or not they want to engage with them and assault them to get cool rewards, including free loadout items, which is one of the new ways that we're adding for players to get their hands on their best weaponry. We've worked really hard to bringing AI at scale into Warzone 2, and you're going to encounter them in multiple modes in different ways. In BR specifically, they're in these strongholds, and if you get to a stronghold, you can find the location of a black site, which is going to have even cooler stuff in it, and you can fight your way from one to the next.
For the first time ever, you can drop into Call of Duty Warzone from wherever life takes you. Let me quickly point out the gameplay you're seeing today is still alpha, so it's only going to get better. And for Warzone fans, you will recognize this drop sequence right away.
I mean, honestly, it just gives me so much nostalgia. But wait a minute, Chris. Is that the legendary Verdansk?
You know, this is where Warzone gameplay was born, and we're bringing the legendary Verdansk map to mobile for the very first time from its hallmark vistas and these dense urban areas. They're just so much fun to play in. Wide open fields, ready for battle, and intimate, close quarters combat environments. There's so much variety in Verdansk. it's famous for good reason, teaming with fan favorite locations like Boneyard and Superstore, even TV station.
Well, I'm getting classic Call of Duty Warzone flashbacks here. Can you tell us more about the game?
Sights and sounds, all those essential little touches are smooth and accurate. It's about creating an experience that's so true to form, you can imagine feeling that dirt compressing under the soles of your boots with every move. Or imagine those tiny shockwaves of recoil moving through your entire body with every shot. In Warzone Mobile, these are the kind of details that we care about that make the combat feel airtight and authentic. For example, when you're out there exploring the map and evading the gas circle collapse, you can try to sneak up on another player and pull off a finishing move. It's like ultimate bragging rights. And if you're feeling more strategic, you and your squad, they can complete contracts, use that cash at buy stations. There's a ton of variety there, including lots of different abilities like bringing back a fallen squad mate. Now, that contract economy, it adds a ton of depth and strategy through risk and reward.
I really like that you brought that up, because if you're talking about risk and reward,
this means you can deploy your big stick of choice like, a precision airstrike. You might be able to wipe out an entire squad with it. So not so fortunate for them, but they're not necessarily down for the count either, because we have the Gulag. So here players can fight for a second chance. So when you go down, you get to fight one-on-one with another down player, and you can earn your way back into battle. This is how Warzone Mobile plays out on a truly massive scale, unlike anything we've ever played on mobile before. For this reason, we're pushing way past the envelope on high player counts to make sure each match is jam-packed with our signature style of combat. So we are supporting up to 120 live players in the single match.
Wait, hold on. Did you just say 120 players? Or do you mean bots? Because it seems like in Battle Royale games on mobile, they're usually loaded up with boring bots.
Well, we believe it's critically important and a lot more fun to play with real, live, human opponents. And that is our focus. So for anyone who's tired of playing with nothing but bots, we hear you. We're talking up to 120 higher scale than we've ever seen in other Battle Royale games on mobile, because Warzone Mobile is running on advanced, unified Call of Duty technology. This is the same shared tech behind the console and PC versions of Warzone 2.0. It gives us a ton of advantages, like these incredibly high player counts, authentic Call of Duty combat and gameplay systems, and it opens the door to a much more connected experience across all platforms.
So when you say more connected, does that mean that Warzone...
That your time is precious, and your investment in playing is now recognized across Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2.0, and Warzone Mobile. So wherever you're playing Call of Duty, it is time well spent, including on mobile. Even your friends list and chat are shared across platforms, so you can recognize from Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2.0. And whatever you get from the Battle Pass, you will see it on console or PC. It'll also be there on your mobile device too. And the other way around works as well.
I really love to hear that. And as a matter of fact, I saw some of the same weapons and operators being shown earlier today in Call of Duty Warzone 2.0. Are you aiming to make it exactly the same on all platforms?
That's a great question. So the team's incredibly excited about how deeply connected and authentic the experience is in Call of Duty Warzone Mobile. And we'll continue to adapt the best content and features and innovations created across the franchise. Experience with a unified feel. And by doing this, we don't need to compromise the tuning for any platform. This ensures a level playing field and more fun for everyone. Now, keeping those controls balanced for all player types, it's super important. So whether you're the hardest of hardcore mobile pros, or maybe you're a console first player that's sneaking in an extra match during your lunch break, even brand new players to the franchise who need a little help getting into the flow of the game, we are committed to providing the most robust control options anywhere for a pick up and play experience that's accessible to all of our players.